Hi everyone, this is Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy. This is day 12 of our velocity banking with a bi-weekly paycheck of $1,694.93. I'm gonna just go ahead and round it off, $1,694. Okay, yesterday when we looked at the numbers, fundamentally we got down to $504.98 in bills. Started off with initially having my paycheck of $1,694.93 placed on one of the credit cards. And from there, I've been subtracting the bills. Some of the bills that have come in, some of the bills that have come in included the Walmart, there was a cash advance, the electric bill, miscellaneous bills, the car registration, car insurance, and car gas. So as of today, these bills totaled about $1,066. So what I'm doing is looking at the initial deposit of 1694 against the credit card balance of $3,687.30, and I'm rounding it off. This is just one of the credit cards using Velocity Banking since December of January of 2024. I've knocked out a couple of my credit cards in general. So now I'm just starting to pull some of the lower cards and just knock them out. Velocity Banking seems to be doing well for me, but I wanted to do a bi-weekly Velocity Banking for the viewers and subscribers to give them an idea of the potential. So with that said, this 1694.93 represents two biweekly checks I get for the month of March. This is the credit card debt that I'm looking to eliminate, $3,687. It has a monthly payment or an expected monthly payment of this month of 173. And again, for the Velocity Banking advocates, as soon as I dump that paycheck on, then I eliminated that $173 and it became cash flow. So I'm gonna see how that works out. Definitely very interested in that and showing you how that happens. So once I put my $1,694 onto the debt, it came down to $1,992. And also, we had $28 that was left from February. It was initially $190 in cash flow, and this is what I have so far remaining from February of last month as a part of the cash flow. So I had a little under $200 left over. I don't know if I'm gonna have that much of a surplus because the car registration came in that was at 238 this month, and the car insurance that was at $82 a month. The car um, insurance has increased increased along with the car registration. The gas bill came down 359, but in California, the PG has raised their rates. They said maybe 10 to 15%. So back to 28 is going on the card, 1695 is going on the card. That left me a balance of $1,664 on the card. Then I went ahead and took out the expenses that we had earlier that I put together, and those expenses total 1,066. So they're going back onto the card. And going back onto the card is going to raise the card and it's going to raise the average daily balance. But again, I was able to interrupt it for a couple of days, and that's good because I save interest. To me, a penny saved is a penny earned. I think a lot of people have said the first $1 million is the most difficult to make. No, the first penny for me has been the most difficult to make because I had to change my mindset, I had to change my behavior, and I had to say that I wanted to do it. So the first million, no, not so much as that first penny, and me deciding that I'm changing my behavior, attitude, and skills around money. If you remember, changing my the data, my behavior, my attitude, my skills and my knowledge around money, what I call the BAS. And that is, I'm taking in a lot of data, taking in a lot of information, um, looking at my behavior, my attitude toward money, the skills that I develop and help my clients develop, and also their knowledge. So now we're back up to 330 on the credit card. And in the previous videos, the credit card is at 24.49% interest and a daily rate of about $2.50 a day. So all in all, I'm still doing better than the traditional way of waiting to the end of the month where there was more month than money. Now doing a little bit better in general. So with that, it went back up even after the two deposits to 330, but I broke that average daily balance a couple of days, which would save some interest, which would help with the cash flow, in addition to that 173 cash flow that I'm looking for. And in other news today, I started looking at the another home equity line of credit. I wiped out some of the debt. Credit was looking good. Score went up to FICA 8, according to Wells Fargo, went up to 785. But then when they pulled it, it was at about the three scores about 691, 710, and 701. So in general, when looking for a mortgage, there's always or seem to be the discrepancy between what you see and then what they pull on the back end. So with that, they pulled the credit, they looked at the numbers, and for the last few days, been looking to get another crack at the HELOC. And today they came back and said, okay, well, Mr. Green, Mr. Green, sorry, we can't do anything or move forward because the mortgage that I was using and the home that I was using in general had a balloon payment on the back end of it as a result of when I went into deferment during the COVID. If many of you remember, I'm carrying 3 mortgages in general. So I'm getting by and I'm making it. But during COVID, we had some challenges with my tenants. So I deferred some of the money. Now the loans have some money on the back end. I'm going back again and reading the contracts. They say some of the loans are non-interest bearing, and then some may be a balloon or a variable. So I'm going back and look. One of the properties that I was using and trying to get a $50,000 HELOC, they came back today and say we probably won't be able to proceed because it has a balloon on it. So I'm gonna look at the other 2 properties, see if they have a balloon payment on them, and seeing if I can move forward with that. If not, then my backup plan is to start using one of the credit cards that I cleared up using Velocity Banking rather quickly. This card is free with $7,500 on it. So I'm gonna look at how can I incorporate this card into Velocity Banking. I think the interest rate on this is maybe 26, 29 also. And again, velocity banking, one of the principles behind velocity banking is the interest rate may not be as important. And I'm also going to be looking at that and measuring that in terms of this 26, 29, because the expectation is that each time I get paid and I put it onto the card and I'm doing this monthly, I'm still coming out better than if it was on a fixed rate. Now, in addition to that, once I get more stabilized, the bill money would also go into the card earlier, which would bring it down even further and save even more interest. So I think it can work, and I'm gonna use this in terms of velocity banking. There's another concept called chunking. So I may borrow against this, chunk it onto one of the mortgages that I have, which is $28,000. So the mortgage I was trying to get a HELOC on is about 28,500. So what I'll probably do is liquidate some of the money off of here, put it onto the card, chunk it, and then take my wages and bills and place it back on this card once this card is knocked out. Now, again, 26.9% interest, but if the velocity banking principles are right, and I think they are because I paid down significant amount of debt within the past 2 months, I think I can beat this rate in general by placing my paycheck and placing some of the bill money. Now this is just only $1,000 so far to bill money, but generally the bills are running. My bills are running between 28 to $3,000. So yeah, that should help bring it down. So even if I don't get this HELOC, then I'm gonna move forward with taking this card and liquidating it in general and using it as chunks onto this 28,500. This 28,500 initially started off at 46,900, I think. 46,900 was the buy price of the home, and I purchased this in 2009. So how many of you would have been paying, oh, and it's been about 15 to 16 years, $46,000? You wouldn't pay 15 years on an automobile for $46,000 over a 15-year period. So this goes back to the amortized table that advocates talk about, where it's front-loaded interest. So if you're able to get a line of credit like Christy Van talks about on Fantastic, then it really will go a long way. And now that I'm looking back, yes, if I would have been able to get a HELOC earlier, and looking at the principles of velocity banking, I should have been able to pay this off. Well, yes, pay it off. I'm not going to even say should. Pay this off in general. And if I can get a line of credit. And the interesting thing about this is that this loan may have, I think, $5,000 on the back end. So I was wondering, how much of a difference does it really make if I'm getting a $50,000 HELOC and this has 5,000 extra on the back, which would be approximately $33,000? What still is the problem? Because the HELOC I would use the HELOC to fundamentally wipe it out. So that's one of the questions that I want to talk with the lender tomorrow to see what's the issue with that. If I was qualified for 50,000, why would this having a $5,000 on the back end really matter? Again, this is Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy. And if you have any ideas or comments of why you think it should matter to a $50,000 HELOC, when in essence I'll use it to wipe this out. So just seeing if there's something else going on. All right, thank you very much for stopping by. See you tomorrow for day 13 of Velocity Banking bi-weekly.